All right, we're joined with our qualifying press conference here at Darlington Raceway with our second and third place qualifiers. Of course, Jimmie Johnson, who drives number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet, and Kasey Kahne, driver of the number 5 Rockwell Tools Chevrolet. P2, P3 here at Darlington for tomorrow night's race. Guys, congratulations. Jimmie, talk to us about how things went out there for you, not just in practice today, but also during qualifying laps.
Yeah, we've had a very productive day. We put up a good time off the truck. Made a couple efforts to fine-tune the qualifying setup and got into race trim. I learned quite a bit in race trim, and we actually brought some of that into our qualifying setup, and it paid off. Very comfortable race car, maybe a little too comfortable down in 3 and 4. I knew that I left a little time on the table down there, and Greg certainly went down there and found it. From the monitor I was watching, he had a blistering fast 3 and 4, and came back around and got us. But productive day. We're learning a lot, and wish it was a Hendrick front row, but a solid day all in all.
Kasey, how about you?
Yeah, our lap was good. I was a little bit free through 1 and 2, and but got through the transitions really well and carried good speed down the backstretch. Made it through 3 and 4 pretty good. So I didn't necessarily think it was going to be a pole at the time, and then the speeds, everybody was really close from that right there about a 40 to a 45. There was a lot of cars right there, and then Greg went out at the end and beat us. But still a really good lap for our Rockwell Tools Chevy, and the guys did a good job. We struggled in practice, and we just kind of made some guesses there for qualifying, and it seemed to help. And looking forward to tomorrow night. I think some of the things we did in qualifying that we were hitting on them towards the end of practice, put them in for qualifying, and I think some of that will help for tomorrow night also.
Great, guys. If you have questions for either Jimmie or Kasey, let us know, and we'll bring the wireless mic to you. Give us your name and affiliation. We'll go ahead and start with Al. Jim, did you have one? Al, then Jim.
Yeah, Jimmie, Al Pearson, Auto Week. Being a Southern California guy, what are your remembrances of Carroll Shelby? Do you remember him being a big part of the Southern California auto scene back when you were coming along?
Yeah, I do. I mean, my focus was really on the dirt, but knowing the Cobra and his history in sports car racing, the history he had here in the States, and then what he did at Le Mans and on the world circuit, you just knew about it. And I knew where his facility was back. I had a sponsor in the general area, and I'd drive over and get free clothing all the time. And on my way out, I would see his big building and everything that was in there. And I'd always drive by and smile and knew that he had some awesome machinery in there. But he's done so much for automobiles plus racing. His vision, his early days of pioneering, finding speed, lighter cars, bigger engines. The stuff that is becomes synonymous today with racing, but he was one doing that back in the day, and it really represented the U.S. well abroad, and took down Ferrari at a key point in time, which was awesome to see.
Jim Undershaw, observer for both Kasey and Jimmie. Kasey, you went out quite a bit ahead of Jimmie. Were you surprised that is there a reason why you think more people didn't match or get past you? And Jimmie, were you surprised that more people didn't, from the last group, that didn't have a chance at the pole?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised, but if you look at the track, it really stayed pretty similar. Where the sun goes down at 1 and 2 still, completely sun, and then 3 and 4 is slowly getting shaded. But where I ran there, I was in the shade. I didn't run low, so I was in the shade over there, and felt like I had really good grip over there. So I don't think the track changed a whole lot for, throughout the field as qualifying went. So I think that's why we were able to kind of get that lap early and stay up there.
Yeah, when I saw Kasey go to the top, I knew it was a good lap. He's always went up front, winning poles, especially since he's been in our cars. He's always out qualifying all of us. So he was the bogey that I was trying to beat that time. I knew it was a strong lap. As to Kasey's point, it wasn't super hot today, so I don't think we had a big change in temperature and all that kind of stuff. I was surprised some of the guys after me didn't go faster, like the 29X. How fast he was in practice. In that first practice, I thought he was going to really blister one, but they weren't able to do that.
From frontstretch.com. For you, Kasey, a couple weeks ago you won at Rockingham, then you turn around and technically you were second fastest in qualifying. You tied Jimmie in it. Is there something about these older tracks that kind of plays to your dirt background that you get to kind of slide them around and make them go fast? And Jimmie, are you going to give Biffle a hard time that he screwed up having your tied times for the front row because he ended up getting on the pole and beating you out?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always really liked racing here, racing Rockingham. And, you know, it eats the tires up. Not as much here as it used to, but, you know, it's a track that's, you know, really technical, and you're right by the wall. You know, and racing dirt growing up all the way, a lot of those tracks you run on the cushion or you run right up against a wall, and that's kind of part of it. So it's just something that it can grab you in a hurry here too, and it can do the same at Rockingham when you try to run around that place in different areas. But it's a great track. I always enjoy racing here, and it's slipperier today than what it was, I think, on Friday last year when we were here. So I think the racing will be better tomorrow night, and looking forward to it. Glad we qualified well and start up front.
Yeah, it would have been great to have a Hendrick front row. You know, we've watched it over the years, and qualifying is so tight. One of these days, we're going to have a tie for the pole on the front row. I was hoping today would be the day, but Greg put down an awesome lap and didn't allow that to happen.
Nate Ryan, USA Day. Jimmie, you may have been asked about this already, but and Kasey, if you want to chime in too. I guess NASCAR put out some new rules this week about how you guys can set up your cars, particularly related to, I guess, mile-and-a-half tracks and stuff like that. Have you guys had any chance to look at that yet, or talk to your crew chiefs about how that'll affect things and what it might do?
I wasn't aware of it. I hadn't heard anything. We hadn't talked about it through any of our meetings, and that I was a part of. I wasn't at our Tuesday meeting this week, but
Yeah, I didn't hear about it.
yeah. Hopefully, our crew chiefs heard about it.
My spotter's going to be Kevin Hamlin, who was supposed to do it last week, and he had laryngitis or something, so we had to grab another one about 15 laps in, which worked out fine. Kevin's done a great job, so we'll see how long RCR lets us use him. He's a good guy, though. I hope he gets to keep doing it, but we'll see how that goes after this weekend. And I forget what the rest of your question was. Oh, to win? I don't know. I've never won here. I don't know. Tough to say. I think it could be anything, you know. And last year, whatever the 78 car did seemed to pay off because they weren't up there. They were more like 8th to 10th the whole race, and I think it's, you know, and they ended up winning. So I don't know. Anything can happen here. Jimmie's winner.
Yeah, it was the old surface. You know, the cars are all going to be very equal on speed. It's going to be tough to pass. I think strategy / that last pit stop. You know, track position is going to be king at the end of the race. So it could come down to fuel, but you know, how that last pit stop goes is going to be important too.